Well, good morning. I'm Jeff Coleman.
And I'm Debra Pinkerton. Welcome to Morning Light.
Well, strikes are intensifying across the Middle East. Secretary of State Marco Rubio says the next phase for Iran will be even more punishing. The U.S. death toll now stands at 6. This afternoon, Rubio will brief Congress on Operation Epic Fury. U.S. senators and representatives are divided. The U.S. Constitution, of course, gives Congress the power to declare war, but the president can authorize military actions through the War Powers Act of 1973 if there is an imminent threat to national security. Every president since Gerald Ford has used the resolution to initiate or justify military actions.
And on Monday, President Donald Trump named his 4 objectives for the operation: destroying Iran's missile program, crippling its navy, dismantling its terrorist network, and ensuring the regime can never obtain a nuclear weapon. The Department of State is urging all Americans in 6 Middle East nations to leave right now, although hundreds of thousands of travelers are stranded in the region because flights have been grounded. The Department of Homeland Security warns of potential cyber or lone wolf attacks, but no specific threat has been given.
But we continue our in-depth coverage of what is happening inside Iran. We go now to a man who escaped Iran as a child with his family. Pastor David Nasser joins us from his office in Nashville. Pastor David Nasser, welcome to Morning Light. You have quite a dramatic story, of course, beginning as a young boy in Iran in the late 1970s. You've got the scenes of the Ayatollah Khomeini returning from exile. It really reads like a movie script. Who were you back then, and what put your family in the middle of those events in 1979?
Yeah, it's so good to be with you. My family and I escaped Iran in 1979 when the Iranian Revolution happened. And so it was a very dramatic scenario for us as a family, but we eventually made it to the United States as a Shiite Muslim family that was forced to escape because of who my father was in the military in Iran. And so we got to America as refugees, for lack of better terms. And at that moment, you got to understand, we came to America, we moved to Texas, to Killeen, where the largest army base in the world is, because my father had taken flight training there before, during the Iranian hostage situation. So I always say, I was a wedgie waiting to happen. I mean, it was like, wow, we are from the wrong place at the wrong time. And people were watching on TV how Iran was going through this revolution and how they were burning the American flag, calling America.
This is like the Russians moving next door, right?
That's right.
The level of emotion and the intensity. Did you experience prejudice at the beginning?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because again, everything at that moment in patriotic Texas, military town, was everyday people waking up and watching our hostages, the American hostages in Iran. And so, again, for years and years, we came to America as refugees, and it just didn't feel like a safe harbor. But then a local church was kind to us. And eventually my story turns into just really the American dream story. I mean, we came here, the land of opportunity and the land of freedom. And honestly, when I was 18 years old, I gave my life to Christ. And this nation has afforded me so much, most of which being that I came to know the Lord. So I say that to say, we were an immigrant family that came here. We escaped when the revolution happened. And as much as we are the American dream story, we also had this other dream. In the back of our hearts, we've always had this dream that, hey, we got out of there, but our family didn't.
Yes.
We got away from these tyrants and found freedom, but our friends in Iran don't have that. So for years, we've been praying that God would liberate our people. And so it feels like right now we're on the cusp of that dream coming true.
So what are these emotions like for you? When you first heard airstrikes, are you thinking first about where your family is? Are they safe? Are you thinking about raising the lion flag? Or what is the level of emotions that are going through your body at that moment?
Man, I think you answered it in the question, brother. I mean, literally both fear. This feels like a terrifying yet exhilarating moment. In one sense, it's dangerous. It's in another sense, it's what had to happen.
Right.
And also, I got to say, it's not lost on me, and I think I speak for the overwhelming people in Iran. it's not lost on them that the other thing that all of us, so many of us, are feeling is gratitude. Because we're grateful that true allies would come alongside. I think the people in Iran were going to do this with or without Allied help. But man, with the Allied help, it got 10x easier, because I think that's what President Trump actually was clear about. Hey, we're going to come in and help you, help tip it, but this is actually your road to hoe. Like we might do, for lack of better terms, the air war. But you got to come in here and this is your revolution to get back. This is your freedom. You got to get in and do the groundwork. And,
so talk
and
a little
I think
bit
the
about
people
that.
in Iran feel gratitude towards the fact that Allied forces are helping them in this.
So take us there to your friends and family, people you've been WhatsApping, people that you've been talking. Now there's an internet blackout, so there's a great deal of uncertainty. And you say, all right, there's a hit in Tabriz and there's a hit in Tehran, and you don't know exactly who is safe and who isn't. How do you, as a believer, how do you process that? And then what are you saying to encourage your family, who are not all believers, about what comes next in Iran?
Yeah, it's a great question. In one sense, you're holding this, you're coming to God and you're asking God for their protection and their provision. But in another sense, you realize that freedom isn't free. You realize that we're going to need people to step into the gap in this moment and to have the courage to do so. And I've got to tell you, the Iranian people have the spirit of a lion. They can take that lion off the flag, but it ain't coming off the heart of the Iranian people. And the sun that rises, and that's the lioness spirit of the Iranian women, the courageous women in Iran. And so I feel like they don't mind dying to bring freedom for their children and their grandchildren.
All right.
And so in one sense, we want to minimize, we want swift justice, but in another sense, we know people have to step up to the plate. This is a bit of a Tiananmen Square moment. You remember that picture that we all know so well of a man who stands against the tank?
Yeah.
Exactly. This is that kind of a moment in the life of the Iranians. And so we want to see that minimized, but at the same time, we know that it's worth it. And so we want to see all of it. But honestly, for me as a pastor, more than anything else, I don't want just the liberation of my family in Iran. I don't want just a better revolution or a democracy. I want all those things.
Yes.
What I really want for Iran is revival.
All right.
You know?
So let me talk to you about that. There's some estimates that there are 6 to 10 million believers. I mean, that seems like a high number, but then you see the organizations who are resourcing hundreds of churches. What is happening? Is it because when you grow up in Iran, you have this strict, almost forced diet of religion, and at some point you reject it being spoon-fed, and then you're exploring, or is there a sense that this is more of a spiritual movement of God in Iran in particular? Because it appears to me, when you look at China, Nigeria, these other countries, that Iran is the hot spot in the world for the growth of the Christian church.
Yeah, we don't have exact numbers because it is the secret church, underground church.
Right.
But I will tell you this. Here's what we know for sure. From our friends at Open Doors, the Voice of the Martyrs, to our good friends at Convoy of Hope, we do a lot of work in helping churches and advocating for them, from International Justice Mission. Here's what we know. The data is clean and clear. Iran right now has the fastest growing church in the world.
Yes.
Church in Iran. And it is an underground church. And what's crazy about that is it's happening right in the shadow of duty and fear-based religion and what I would consider to be false religion. And so what's interesting is I think the people of Iran are sick and tired of false religion, but they're hungry for true redemption. And we're seeing that. And I got to tell you, God's not even waiting. God's not even waiting for the help of the global church to help them. Yeah. They're already the fastest rising church. And in the middle of all of that, people are hearing the gospel, and Jesus is appearing to them in dreams, and people are gathering in worship. And so there's something that's stirring. And how crazy would it be? I mean, think about this. If the world's most dangerous nation, you know, where we're harboring more terrorists, we're funding more terrorists. If the world's most dangerous nation, Iran, in 10 years becomes the most dangerous nation for the advancement of the gospel.
What a thought, David. What a thought.
And God can do it.
We've got just about a minute and a half left. I want to ask you this. How do you tell people who have really feared movements of Muslim neighbors moving next door? They see them at the supermarket, they see them at Walmart, at Target, they see them at Chick-fil-A, and they don't know how to engage. If that was your family in 2026, what would you say to that American Christian family eating their chicken sandwich, looking over at you? How do you love your Muslim neighbor?
Man, thank you for asking that question. I can tell you the answer is what happened to me and my family. A bunch of believers were very believable. A bunch of Christians were very Christ-like to me and my family. They saw my Muslim family, and they didn't see us as the enemy, but they saw us as the prize. They chose to see us as God would see us. And in a world that was treating so much of who we were with hostility, they showed divine hospitality. And so my story is about a worship leader who showed up at my dad's restaurant and waited on tables at my dad's restaurant during the lunch rush to help him, and then invited my dad to church. And the reason my dad went was because of kindness being the superpower. And then because of that, I got to go to church, and I eventually came to the Lord. And so I'm telling you all that to say that in this moment, while all these things are happening, you don't have to get in the ocean to go across the ocean to go do foreign missions. People from Pakistan, people from Jordan, people from Iran, people from Iraq, Kurdish people, they are in our neighborhoods all over this nation. And we can just be kind. We can be gracious, and we can love them.
I'm going to have to end. I hope your Farsi's good, because I think you're heading back to do some big work there. I'm so honored you took the time to be with us today, brother, and I hope you'll come back to Morning Light, because we've got a lot more to talk about. Thank you. Such an honor to be with you. We'll learn more about David Nasser and his ministry at davidnasser.com. Coming up on Morning Light, Simon Peter is on trial, charged with fraud for preaching and teaching that Jesus is the Son of God. That's the focus of the Promise Players Spring musical. We'll share a preview up next. You're watching Morning Light on Lighthouse TV.
Welcome back. We first introduced you to the Promise Players in October, a Christian theater group who promotes the gospel and challenges the audience to include God in their everyday lives. Joining me to tell us about their spring musical is board president Lanny, Millette, and the director Dorothy Smith. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
So remind us about Promise Players.
Sure. Promise Players is a non-denominational or interdenominational theater group based out of the Lampeter Church of the Brethren, who have been very good to us in letting us turn their church into a theater twice a year. But we will do shows that illustrate real life issues resolved in a very positive Christian way. Our ultimate goal is to celebrate Jesus as Lord and to find ways to live out our Christian life in all the different kinds of situations that we might have to face over time.
And you do it with humor as well.
Absolutely, yeah. We say at every show that God made laughter, and we encourage the audience to let it go, let it rip.
So what is the ultimate goal?
Well, obviously, the ultimate goal is to proclaim Jesus as Lord, but the auxiliary goal would be to provide people with an opportunity to use the gifts and talents He's given them through drama, and also for the people in the audience to experience Christ in a real, a genuine, authentic way, and through the different scenarios that we can present through our dramas and plays.
So let's talk about the latest production. Dorothy, you are directing this year's musical. I love the title. Simon Says, The Rockin' Trial of Simon Peter. Tell us about it.
Yes. So this is a delightful musical that was written by Jimmy Travis Getson and Gail Getson, and originally written for a youth musical. And so it's basically, as we said, it's Simon Peter. He's on trial for preaching and teaching that Jesus was the Son of God, the prophesied Messiah. And so we have fun with that. We're in a courtroom setting on stage. And yeah, we just have a little fun with bringing in the eyewitnesses from the Bible who witnessed Jesus, and saw what he did and the healing that he gave them, both emotional and the physical healing. And yeah, it's just a fun twist on that.
What is the main message for the audience?
Well, as always, we want to present Jesus as the Christ, and we hope that they will take that message to heart. For any who don't know Jesus, that they will be able to see a glimpse of who this is and pique their curiosity.
He's the promised one, the Son of God, the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, the Holy One, light of the world, the risen Lord and Savior. That's one of the songs.
So well said.
A lot of words to remember.
And Dorothy, your husband's also involved with this. This is really more of a family affair.
It is somewhat of a family affair. So as I said, it was originally written as a youth musical, so it was mostly unison singing, and it was on the short side. It was maybe about a half hour, and so we wanted something longer, more full length, but I enjoyed the show, what the Getsons presented. I enjoyed it a lot, and so I was like, what can we do with this? And so I wrote 4 extra scenes, and my husband and my Phil is his name, Phil, and our son CJ wrote the music for those 4 scenes, and we tried to stay still in the character of the original show, and we also added voice parts, so we have some harmonies going on in some of the songs that the Getsons had written. Yeah.
And Lanny, you're in it too. Tell us about your role.
I am. I get to play the Apostle Andrew and introduce the words and the ministry of John the Baptist through both a little dialogue and then a song. And then a little bit later in the show, I am the Apostle James, and James and John, we talk about the miracles and the impact that Jesus had on the lives of those who came to him. So it's a lot of fun, yeah.
What do you hope the audience takes away?
Well, we always hope that it draws them closer to Jesus, to have a relationship with Jesus instead of just going through the motions, that they might think about intentionality of this. I could see this in my life. Maybe I could see more of this in my life. And so the takeaway should be that, you'll examine that. And if you don't know him, you'll develop a relationship. Yeah.
We were talking earlier, and you had said you both have seen lives changed.
Absolutely. We just recently learned of a situation where a young man had come to the show because his mother-in-law was acting in it. This is about 2 years ago. And he had never been really in a church before. But because of the impact of the show, he decided he needed to know a little bit more about this church Christ thing. Mm-hmm. And so he started going to a men's group at LCBC. And in fact, more recently, has been leaning toward giving his heart to the Lord. And he has a daughter who's going through a medical situation, and he's joining in prayer for her healing. So it was exciting to see how the show impacted that in a way that, even though his mother-in-law was very much into the church, mm-hmm. it took going and experiencing that show.
Yeah, amazing. How about for you?
Yeah, well, we've had several stories that have come back to us as a board of people who have come and had their lives impacted. Excuse me, whether that is, whatever that looks like, whether that is just somebody who was touched deeply emotionally by something that we shared, because yes, we love the laughter, mm-hmm. but we also shed a few tears in some of these, and so to get people to, we've seen and heard stories of people who have come to the shows who have not known the Lord or have been going through something heavy themselves, and it just buoys them up and lifts them up.
So we did this show in which a man was dying of cancer, and he was holding out until he could make sure that his daughter was going to get to heaven. And so the show took him through. I mean, I actually was the guy, and I died on stage. But people came up afterwards and said, you have no idea how this has helped me to deal with my situation, to see it graphically portrayed, and then to realize, oh, you know, there is hope beyond my current illness, but also there's hope for my family. Some found it hard to sit through that, but many told us that that was a meaningful point for them. So again, that's where we take a real life situation, and there were funny parts of that show, but it also brought a lot of tears.
Yeah, certainly God brings about awareness in amazing ways.
Yeah.
What I love about what Promise Players does is that how you donate all your proceeds to a nonprofit. Talk to us about this one.
Sure. Yeah, that's one of the more exciting things about being part of this particular group. Over the 30 years that the program has been in existence, there's probably 56, 57 nonprofits have benefited from it. We've raised $311,600 to help in our community.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah. This year, we're excited to sponsor Bible to School. And that's a ministry that allows kids to leave class for about an hour and to experience the Bible and faith, and people who are people of faith. They leave the school building, but it's during their school time. And we are told by Bible to School that probably 50% of those kids are unchurched. So this is the only time that they receive this kind of instruction. There are 6 members of our cast who are actually volunteers in that program. So yeah, we're excited. I believe the 3 programs are Penn Manor, Manheim Township, and the School District of Lancaster that we're supporting.
Wow, that is amazing. So you really do have an impact on your community.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yep. So let's talk about when the show is playing and times and how people can get tickets.
Yes. So the show is at Lampeter Church of the Brethren, and they've been hosting us, as Lanny said. Excuse me. And they, so you can go online to promiseplayers.org. Our shows are opening, and you reserve your ticket there. Our shows are opening on March 12th and run through the 22nd. And so we do 5 shows each weekend. So Thursday evening, Friday evening, Saturday evenings at 7:30, and Saturday and Sunday afternoons at 2:30. And 10 shows then in the 2 weeks. So it's a lot of shows to choose from. So you want to find one that suits, yes.
And we really encourage people to reserve ahead of time. It does not mean you have a specific seat, but it means you will get in for that show, because we do sell out. And also, you need to come a little bit early, because people show up at least an hour before the show. So if you want a really good seat, you want to come. But we would love to sell out all these shows, because it means we could have a much greater gift to the Bible to School.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Thank you both for being here, and have a wonderful time with this show.
Thank you.
And as Dorothy had mentioned, for more information about the Promise Players or to purchase tickets for Simon Says, the Rockin' Trial of Simon Peter, check out promiseplayers.org. Stay with us. We're back right after the break. Welcome back. Coming up tomorrow on Morning Light, Jubilee Ministries and Lebanon Rescue Mission have both been featured on our program. Learn how their teamwork will help those who need it the most in Lebanon County. And that's a look at what's coming up tomorrow on Morning Light. Now, Jeff, your closing thoughts.
2 of my favorite organizations, and both of them together, incredible, powerful. Well, a final word today on my conversation with Pastor David Nasser. You remember the Christian worship pastor in his story who came into his Muslim father's restaurant and then just started helping out, just started serving customers, loving their entire family. Well, that's what many of you are doing today. You're opening up your homes. You're extending your hospitality that people have never experienced from other countries, living like Jesus with no agenda other than to love in his name. Incredible. That's what you're doing. That kind of generosity of spirit is what changes America. So a word of encouragement today, because you saw it in David's life, keep it up. The next time you see a family who doesn't look like they were born or belong here, speak a different language, invite them over. See what happens. You're going to be surprised. And that little Iranian Muslim refugee, what an incredible story. What he didn't tell you is that for a season in his ministry, he was pastor to the world's largest weekly gathering of Christian students in the world, Liberty University.
And I just remember saying to God, that's what I want. That's what I want. I want to want you above and beyond anything and everyone else.
And David is still talking about that Texas family to tens of thousands of people every year. That's what hospitality, that's what the grace of God, loving your neighbors can do. So today, yes, check on your neighbors up close in your home and see what God might do through your family. For Debra and the entire Morning Light team, I'm Jeff Coleman. Thanks for watching today, and we'll look for you again back here tomorrow morning.